like you said about going on tour and doing Peter Pan and meeting your wife, professionally speaking, I think that going to audition for Thank You for Smoking with director Jason Reitman is a moment in your life that changed everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we've been in LA for a year, maybe, 20 years in New York, and then moved to LA in 2003 because when Oz and Law and Order ended, there was one pilot happening in New York that year, and went out to LA, got a pilot, so we ended up in LA. I get this audition. We're living in Nichols Canyon in LA. I get an audition, and of course it's in Santa Monica, so it's like an hour in the car. And, it's great script, really fun part, busy day. I get this and that with the kids and a voiceover audition or whatever was going on. It was like, okay, I can drive to Santa Monica. I'll get there, make sure I get there early. Got to find a place to park, go in, sign in, wait, And I sign in and I wait and I wait and I wait. My parking meter's up and I'm like, okay, all right. Well, the rest of my day is kind of falling apart. I'm walking out to plug the parking meter or get in my car. And I'm kind of on the fence, and I'm walking up to the car and somebody parks right in front of me and this child gets out of the car and he goes, JK, and I'm like, wow, somebody recognized me. And I go, yeah. And he goes, hi, I'm Jason. I'm so sorry I'm late. And I go, oh yeah, I was just plugging my meter. And we go in and I read the part. It's a fantastic movie, by the way. Jason's first film that really is sort of underappreciated. Thank You for Smoking. Aaron Eckhart, great cast. Really, really, really good movie. And I do the whole thing. And he said, listen, I'll be honest with you. I've had you in mind for this part, thank you for auditioning. And I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. And he said, my slight concern is, he's the boss, he's gruff, he's, obviously J. Jonah Jameson has become kind of iconic. I mean, how do we separate from that? And I said, like a smart ass, I said, I could not have a flat top and a mustache and a cigar, Yeah. And he went, all right, yeah, point made. And, I got the part as BD in Thank You for Smoking, which is a fantastic experience and obviously led to a relationship with Jason that continues.
Shortly thereafter led to Juno.
Yeah.
Another chance for us, like I said, who had been big fans of stuff like Oz, to see the tender side as this sweet dad in that movie. And then people might not realize, but Jason Reitman produced Whiplash.
Yeah.
Now, and you can tell the story about how actually you got two scripts at the same time for a feature.
I love how you do that. Like there were actual hard copies of scripts, which I still like, by the way. I mean, trees are a renewable resource. I'm sorry, I still like a hard copy, and I recycle. We were Jason, one of the smartest guys I know. We became pals, and I'm his father's generation, but he's been a mentor to me because I came to film acting late. He joined, I asked him during the shoot, we're just palling around, and I said, do you play poker at all? And he said, no. And I said, perfect. Want to join my poker game? You got money, right? And he joined a regular, pretty mediocre poker game that I had with a bunch of great pals. Quickly became one of the best players at the table because he's super smart. And it was at one of those poker games that he handed me the hard copy script for Juno and said, you should read this. Didn't say, I want you to play Mac McGuff, and I'm reading it, thinking, oh, I could play the guy in the drugstore or, anyway, obviously I ended up playing Mac McGuff, and it was a fantastic experience. A couple years later, I get an email from him producing this movie, unknown filmmaker, first feature. We'd love you to look at this part. And it was, we're going to make a short as a proof of concept to generate funding to, we hope, make the feature film. So the email has both scripts, the feature and the short. And it was like A Few Good Men. It was one of those things that I open the script, I read the first scene where Andrew is practicing and Fletcher comes in, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Who's got two thumbs? My dad's a musician. I'm a musician. All of it clearly a genius screenplay, and a character that I'm like, I can't imagine why I would not. And they were doing a short film. They were doing for whatever the hell, $217 a day, whatever it was paying. And Johnny Simmons, no relation, played the part that ended up being Miles in the feature. I read it. I was smart enough to realize that it was genius. Jason said, Damien would love to meet you. And I've told this story before. It's so stupid. But here I go. I'm reading a script about jazz, a genius script about jazz from somebody who clearly knows what they're writing about. I see the name Damien Chazelle, and I'm thinking jazz is the quintessential American art form, largely African-American art form. I see the name Damien Chazelle, and I'm picturing Antoine Fuqua, right? So I go to meet Damien Chazelle at this restaurant, and I'm looking around for a tall, impressive black guy with a beret on or something, and there's this child, 24 or 5 years old, whatever he was at the time, kind of waving, and I go, oh wow, I guess that must be Damien Chazelle, and we sit down and do the usual sort of obligatory, great script, you're a wonderful actor thing that we obviously both actually meant because he wouldn't have been meeting me. And the first thing he got onto after that was, he said, I'm so glad, that you resonate with this. I'm so glad you're willing to do a short film, and I want to put your mind at ease about the technical demands of it. We'll have a technical advisor. We'll have a body double, for some of the conducting shots from the back. We can have, you can have a pro conductor doing that, and I'm looking at him funny, and I'm going, did Reitman not tell you that, my college degree is in music? I thought I was going to be Leonard Bernstein. The musical aspects are not. I'm not going to be up there waving my arms. I'm going to learn these scores. I'm going to conduct this band, and you get me some guys who can play it, and we'll rock the house. And it was, he also wrote it with Miles in mind, who obviously ended up doing the feature. And without knowing that Miles had been playing the drums since he was 14 years old.
Wow.
So there was some serious kismet going on there. It's a good short, by the way. If you haven't seen the short, check out the short sometime. It's 15 minutes or so, and
it's a scene from the...
It's basically the scene where Andrew comes for the first time to play in the big jazz band, and I throw chairs at him and curse at him a lot. Yeah.
It's an extremely physical performance. I guess in terms of the fact that you and Miles actually hurt each other. But in a way, it was consenting.
Yeah.
You
Well, I didn't consent that he would crack two of my ribs when he tackles me to the stage.
That happened.
It did happen because I'm an idiot, and I don't know how to take a fall because I didn't get the right stunt trick.
Well, I think that was that. There were multiple takes of him jumping on you, and it was the second or third one where
it was the second to the last. Yeah, because I did one more after that, and I was like, nope, then we're done. We're done. Yeah. Fortunately, it was the next last day of shooting, and I didn't have to fully scream anymore after that. Yeah.
It's painful, and you can't really do anything about it.
It's the worst. It's the worst. And I've done it 4 times.
Really?
Yeah. Once really bad, but 3 other times with a couple of cracks. I don't recommend it.
I've heard that for the scene, the immortal scene when he keeps going and going, and you keep going, they were trying to do some camera tricks so that when you smack him, you wouldn't really have to smack him, but the angle would make it look like you did, and it just wasn't working. and Miles said,
"Smack me." Yeah, I mean, and thankfully for a variety of reasons, budget limitations, not unlike Oz, and Damien and Sharon Mayer, our genius DP, were so impeccably prepared for that movie. I mean, that movie shot in 19 days, by the way. And I love the reaction you get from actors, who know what that means. Yeah, unbelievable. And we weren't, we obviously weren't doing take 9, but yeah, they tried a couple things with that, and I mean, you really, it's like I couldn't play those screaming scenes with, trying to use some kind of proper vocal technique like you would on stage 8 times a week. I had to thrash my vocal cords and scream, and they literally planned the schedule so I wouldn't have to do that 2 days in a row. And with that scene with Miles, he was like, just, go for it. And I was like, okay. Smack the movie star. And the scene is it's a great scene, and could have been a great scene if we'd have had a stunt guy coordinated better so Miles didn't get hurt, but whatever, he's young.
Celebrating its 10th anniversary right now, and it's been you've been doing interviews with Damien. I think up in Toronto.
We did. We were at Toronto. It was there, and like the next day was the Saturday night premiere. So I thought that's absolutely worth the trip. Do both, 2 birds with 1 stone. And I sat through the movie, Whiplash, for the first time in 10 years. I mean, what an amazing piece of filmmaking, and obviously a gigantic turning point in my career, which was already in a fantastic place. I'd already been more fortunate than I could have ever imagined. And then it's been, exponentially more blessed professionally since then.
So the movie opened Sundance was where Whiplash premiered, I think. So that's in January of 2014. And then the whole year goes by, and you just, every award there was, you won it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it became a snowball rolling downhill, and people who actually know about those things and really pay attention to those things were telling me all along the way. It's. I mean, the Vegas odds are on you, like 1 billion to 1, and it was just one. I mean, the blessing. The meaningful blessing was making the movie and having the movie be received the way that it was, and then to have all the individual accolades piled on top of that was was a very, very nice cherry on the top.
I'm curious to ask about that experience. A couple of years ago, you were nominated again for Being the Ricardos, where you and you were nominated for an Oscar again, and the great actor Troy Kotsur won in your category for Coda.
Right.
And I looked at the clip when he's being presented the award, and you are beaming. You are so happy for him.
I was so happy that I remembered the sign language for clapping.
Yeah,
was that?
Yeah. But in 10 years ago, when you won, did you? I mean, look. I mean, you don't want to be superstitious. You don't want to, chance fate. But did you feel like this was going to be potentially a moment for you? Because I actually want to ask you about your speech, and there are prognosticators and all this stuff. So you had to have felt that.
I had no idea about it until then.
Yeah,
that was a thing. But yeah, no. And look, when we went 10 years ago for Whiplash, it was virtually a foregone conclusion that like if they'd have said, and thank God it's like the second award in the whole night, so you didn't, my wife and I weren't, sweating it out. And when they announced my name for Whiplash, it was like almost relief as much as anything else. I was like, because if they'd have said, and the winner is, not J.K. Simmons, it would have been like, but it was, still that a surreal kind of experience. I had gone through that whole awards season, never writing an acceptance speech. Even when it got to the point where it was like, oh, I'm probably going to be the guy whose name they call. And, I always just had a kind of an idea about the theme that I wanted to discuss. When I won when I received, I just, for whatever reason, prefer that word. When I received the SAG award for Best Supporting Actor, my speech was about, hey, we're all supporting actors. Whether you're the lead, whether you have one line, whether you're whatever, we are supporting the story. We are supporting the screenplay. We are. That was the theme that I knew I wanted to discuss, and I rambled on about that for however long they let you do it. And on the Oscars, you have 45 seconds, and I just knew that I wanted to first of all express gratitude very quickly, and then just talk about family, which is what's most important.
You said, if you're lucky enough to have a mom or a dad, call them. Don't text them, don't email, call them, and let them talk as long as they want. And I actually wrote down, too, what you said about your wife. You thanked her for her love, her kindness, her wisdom, her sacrifice, and her patience. Very sweet.
All of which are much in demand when you're married to me. Yeah. Especially that last one, I think. And then our above average children who were somewhere in the balcony, and then the part that most people remember was the mom and dad.